let's switch gears and talk about some gear specific stuff.
Sure.
So you're in a live situation, but you also had a rack of some studio outboard. So for example, you had a Dangerous Music 2-Bus Plus on the road with you. So tell us a little bit, first of all, why would you even bother to bring a summing mixer to a live situation?
So what started it for me was I was watching at festivals. I'd go watch the headliner, whoever was mixing, in this case Bob, who does Slipknot, and I saw he was using a summing mixer, and I was very interested in it, and kind of poked around with the idea, but never really did it. And then I happened to watch an interview of Bob later on that week, and he was talking about the summing mixer, and he said, "Someone told me just get it. You just need to get it." And so I kind of adapted that same philosophy. I was like, I'm just going to try. I understood what it was going to do, and in a live situation, buses into other buses isn't always an easy thing. There could be latency added. There could be artifacting. Maybe a bus into a bus treats the audio differently. This was using a summing mixer. In my case, the Dangerous 2-Bus was a guarantee that I was getting transparent summing. If I chose transparent, obviously there were some options on it that I can add plenty of flavor to it, but I was able to get groups into groups on certain things that there's too many inputs for without having to worry about any latency or anything like that. And no extra interfacing, just a few simple settings and summing, and that's all you really need out of the summing mixer. But
so how'd you have it wired in? How was it connected?
So I started out trying it on drums, and I found myself to be chasing my drum tones before I added it in. So I thought maybe this isn't the right place for it. So I started asking around and got some different ideas, and I realized I have some different tracks of playback coming from Pro Tools. And so things like synths or even 808 bass drops and harmony vocal tracks and stuff like that. Maybe a lead is doubled or something like that. So there's a lot going on, and it's easier to send it all to one place, one bus, and have it working all together. And then I can send that completed and smoothed out bus back to my master, which wasn't something you could do without it. So having all the tracks and having just the saturation and the limiting right there. If a part's coming up, I can grab the whole bus and saturate it. I can grab the whole bus and limit it a little bit to get a quick creative sound out of it. And it's just not possible unless you're completely dancing around on the console in moments, especially if the moment only lasts a second or two. So yeah.
I've heard the same story from artists like Usher and people like that were out on the road with it, that there's so much happening. Like at your show, I mean, that's what I was looking at. I was like, there's so much sound, there's so much visual. The band's playing, but there's, as you said, there's also other stuff supporting that. And ultimately, with the Usher situation, they're like, the keyboards are just being overloaded between backing and live. It's just too much. We've got to send it somewhere that can deal with the headroom and bring it out elegantly back into the console.
Yeah, and another thing about it, when you're dealing with backtracks and specifically synth tracks, if the band has a long spanning career, their record from 2012 isn't going to sound the same as the record that came out this year. So loudness has changed, trends have changed, so that just every track from every record is a different volume or a different EQ'd a different way, and like you said, getting something to smooth that out and create a different level of headroom and not have to worry so much about, if I know that this one's a little hotter than the others, I can back down the limiter or back down a little saturation or something, get it right where I want it, instead of having to page over and spill something out and adjust it manually. It's so much quicker, so much more control in a faster way.
Yeah, it gives you cogency, cohesiveness. That's good. So tell us a little bit about the color circuits in there, because you're utilizing those. So you've got there's a harmonic circuit, there's the paralimiter, and there's the transformer.
The harmonic circuit was the first thing I grabbed. It's like, harmonics, tell me more. And what I liked about it right off the bat was I turned it up and I was like, that's too much. Great. I know that it can get well beyond what I would want, and I think that's important because maybe my too much isn't someone else's too much, and it gives you the full range. Hey, if you want to destroy it, go ahead. We'll give you the power to do it. If you want to make it subtle, go ahead. We'll give you whatever you want to do it. I liked that. Everything was so responsive. I liked that I could go too far. It makes you feel better about, especially with a new piece of gear. You don't like grabbing something just diming it. And you're like, this just doesn't feel right. Even if it sounds good, you're like, something about it doesn't feel right. So I didn't feel that way with this. I felt what I expected is what happened, and plenty of room in either direction to do more or less. And yeah.
And what did you like? For example, you were saying you like to saturate certain things. What did you like? What did you use that on specifically?
So if I have one thing that was a cool trick, if I know there's a bass drop coming up, I'd like to saturate that a bit. The way that it pushes into the master bus, then instead of a bass drop hitting an 808 kick drum, essentially, instead of that hitting and just kind of ducking the whole mix while it carries out its thing, I want it to break my mix up. I want it to intentionally clip the mix, even though I'm not clipping the PA system.
Right.
I want to clip at the level either. I'm not clipping on the dangerous. I'm clipping on the master bus at the end, but I want to make it clip, and I want that bass drop to be super distorted and extra stuff to it, and creating moments like that. And there's not too many of them. I'm not trying to pummel everyone with bass the entire time, but a couple songs, couple moments. I like to saturate the tracks, heavier songs. Maybe there's a guitar lead in the background that just feels too shiny, feels too this, feels too that, and having just quick creative settings for the tracks when you have so many of them. And Motionless in White is very much fundamentally guitar, bass, and drums. There's not as much tracks as you might think. So when they come in, it's a moment. It's, in most cases, it's a moment of the song. So I like to just be able to grab something and go right for it right away.